Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chai with Us podcast. This is episode number 53. I am Erica, the personal developer. You can also find me online at emotional.freedom.
Hello, and I'm Ivana from Opal Isabel.
Yes. And today we are analyzing a book that we have read, some time ago and start rereading or re-listening to it right now.
hmm
And it is The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. I hope I'm saying it right. Bernstein, no, not Bernstein.
I think
Bernstein
I
would be
think so too.
German.
I think it's Bernstein as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
I was wondering
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me one thing, like what why would you press on play to listen to this audiobook? What got your
Oh,
attention?
I thought even from the beginning it was very relatable because she talks about how she has this meltdown in a yoga class.
Mm,
And I feel like everyone has ever done yoga that has happened to them. Like something when you're doing
yes.
yoga makes your emotions move around and all these feelings that maybe you've suppressed, where you'll find yourself once in your lifetime crying in a yoga class
Mm-hmm. It's
and you don't
true.
know where all this is coming from. But so since the very beginning of the book, I found her very relatable. And a lot of the things that she talks about over the years, I've picked up doing from different yoga teachers.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, because I heard about the book a long time ago, I just never had read it. And so then I finally read it and I don't know, I just found it very relatable.
Yeah. I love the way she speaks. And one
Yes,
thing I love about the audiobook is that it's like she's having a conversation with us. And
absolutely. Yes.
and it's like if you follow her online, it's the same as listening to her talks or to whatever she posts
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. So I like this part about the audiobook. The first time I've heard the audiobook, it was I don't know. I think I was just going through YouTube looking for interesting things.
Yeah.
And since Gabby always there on Instagram and everything, it got my
Mm-hmm.
attention. I was like, okay, let me see what this is all about. And I like the title, like the universe has your back.
Yes.
It is something that I truly believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, let me see what this fuss is about because the book has a lot of good reviews, even though I saw
Yes.
some bad reviews.
Yeah.
Did you see the bad reviews?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. One girl was like, what did she say? Like, okay, so everything is like love, right? And that's it. And I'm like, and she said something about this white girl telling blah 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 bullshit and every like all your problems are sorted out by love. And I'm like, okay. She looked very like her comment was like very angry. But
Yeah.
but I saw a lot of great reviews and for me it was a great book in general. How did you
Mm-hmm.
feel overall?
I thought so too. I feel like it reaffirmed a lot of the practices I already do, and it reaffirmed some of the beliefs that I already have.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. And I love there's one thing that she says, and it was that synchronicities are natural. And I really do believe that. And it has happened in my life where everything just kind of flows. And I think
Mm-hmm.
when you're following your calling and whatever your intuition is guiding you, like these things just naturally flow.
Yeah.
There's something that she said, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. And she says that at the beginning that we find it hard to give up the fear because we've grown up with it. What do you think about that?
That's true. That's true. It's hard. Like we are used to be afraid. We are used to be scared of doing things, you know? Just imagine when you were growing up, don't do this, don't touch there, don't, and our parents and society,
hmm
they give us like a path and you have to go
Yes.
through life and check those boxes because okay, if you are out of job, what is going to happen? You're going to starve. People are
hmm
not going to look at you like a member of the
Yeah.
society. You're going to live on the street. Like it's like so many
That's
things.
not the case at all.
That's not the
I
case
mean,
at
for most
all.
people,
Yeah,
it's not the
for
case.
starters, that's not the case at
Yeah.
all. And we live in fear. Obviously, we live in fear. And if you add to all that, all the traumas that we
hmm
have, like
hmm
bigger or smaller, whatever you want to call it, traumas. Well, yeah, we live in fear, so it's
hmm
hard. Like let's say, okay, I'm 34 years old. I have been
hmm
living with fear for 34 years old. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden, it's not possible for me to just, you know, change and okay, I'm not afraid anymore. Of course, it's going to be
Mhm.
difficult. So yes, I totally agree with that. I totally
Mhm.
agree with that. We live more in fear. And
Mhm.
I like her idea of, choosing love over fear. But
Yeah.
as I was listening to the audiobook for the second time, because the first time I don't even remember to be honest, but I was thinking about, she talks about love, but love is something like so abstract for people,
Mhm.
um, that I can understand where bad reviews are coming from,
Mhm.
because the way she speaks about love is like the it's like love is everything, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I believe, love is everything, and it is
Mhm.
everywhere. Um, and I like this approach of choosing fear over love, but I also think that it's a little bit difficult to understand the concept when you are starting your personal growth journey.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Like when you were going through it, I think you already read so many spiritual books
Mhm.
that the
Mhm.
language that she's using, I guess, like for you, it's very familiar. But can you
Yeah.
imagine as a beginner
I
reading this
think
book?
Yeah, I like what you said. I agree with you. I think it's very difficult because she talks about it in like an abstract term. And I think
Mm,
sometimes we just think of love and it's romantic relationships. And if you
yeah.
don't have that romantic partner, then you don't have love. And that's not the case at all. Like
Hmm.
love comes also from loving yourself and accepting yourself and doing things that, make you what I want to say make you feel at peace with yourself. I think once you like love yourself and you accept yourself, there's this like peace that comes over you where like you don't get pulled into that
Hmm.
negativity that surrounds us in our world.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I agree with that. And Amma always talks about that too, the guru in India,
Yeah.
about how like love is the answer. Like love is everything, and like love gives you compassion, and it's what saves our world. And so, yeah, I think it helped that I already had my own beliefs about it before I read her book. But I can see why people would be upset reading about it, like just reading it and not
Yeah.
really connecting with it.
Yeah.
Um, but I found her very relatable just because she talks about being an addict and an alcoholic and
Yeah.
how she like went through that, and even like how she still sometimes, like, she was at a party with this woman and she kept on getting annoyed at the woman and how she thought the woman was like seeking all this attention, and then she found out that the woman was also recovering alcoholic, and she realized that I am this woman, and like all the things I was judging about her are also me. And I
Hmm.
found that very relatable because a lot of times when we judge other people, it's actually things that we don't like about ourselves.
Absolutely. And she often uses herself as an example. And I love
Yes.
that. She's not just, you know
Mhm.
what, just do this. She
Yeah.
explains to you what she has done in certain situations when she went through
Mhm.
all these feelings of fear, of feeling overwhelmed. I really love the outline of the book. I love the way
Mhm.
it's written.
Yeah.
I think that it's just it's amazing. One thing that I love about the book is when she says that we have to stop giving purpose to pain,
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
have to stop, having this thought about that if you want something in life, you have to suffer. If you don't go through
Yes.
pain, you are going to be X, Y, and Z. And
Mhm.
I just absolutely love this concept because it
Mhm.
is true. We have a tendency to give purpose to pain,
Mhm.
and we also have this culture where you have to do and act and suffer, because if you don't suffer,
Yeah.
then you don't deserve anything. And so
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, that's true, you have to work for things, like, but where is the limit? Until when?
Yeah.
What's the point that I have to suffer so I deserve whatever is coming at me,
Mhm.
for me? So I really,
Yeah.
really, really love this. um and for me, what gets me the most is her connection with the universe.
Yes.
Like, serious, this book
I
is
love how she just stops and says a prayer when something is going on, and then she talks about how it completely changes her perspective about a situation that she's in.
absolutely, absolutely. This book is like a manual for spirituality and
Mhm.
manifestation and law of
Yes.
attraction at the same time. That's the
Yes.
vibe that I get.
Mhm.
And yes, I love how she stops, and I don't pray, but what am I telling? I talk to the universe a lot, so
That's something I want to
I
talk
pray.
about too when you said pray. I think
Yeah.
she says prayer, but I don't necessarily think that she means it in the religious sense of like you're praying to
No.
God. I think
Yeah.
when she talks about prayer, even though she says the word prayer, she means about having a conversation with the universe and or
Exactly.
whoever you consider to be the creator or creation. So it could be like having a conversation with yourself too,
Yeah.
or your
Yeah.
higher self.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I stopped myself when I said prayer. It's interesting. There is something very interesting about the language that she uses in this book.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
maybe I'm repeating myself, but it's the same thing. The prayer thing is the same thing that I feel about the love thing. Because she
Hmm.
says that the goal of the book is to surrender to love, you
Yes.
know.
I
But
actually wrote that down.
did you?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was beautiful, but the book is itself, it's so much more than that. It's
Hmm.
um, it's a very good what to do in every situation when you are healing, when you are going through something.
Hmm.
I think that surrender to love is beautiful, but it's way more. I think the book is way more
Yeah.
than that, and it's a lot about trusting the universe and
Hmm.
I think that all of the topics that we can relate are on this book,
Yes,
basically.
I agree. I completely agree with what you said. It's like a guidebook for you when you're starting out in your spirituality. And she talks about so many different things affecting different people that she's worked with. And I love that she gives examples of what happened and how they handled it.
Hmm.
And there's this other thing that she talked about that I absolutely love. She said, the world is your classroom and people are your assignments. Do you remember that?
Oh, oh, yes, yes. I wrote a
Yeah.
different sentence from that part, but I love
Uh-huh.
that she says, accept your assignment. And
Yes.
she talks about how life will give you. Oh, I had this. What did she say? It was beautiful. Like life will do something for you that you will not do it for yourself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was like, Baba, that's so true. Like, when you are working and you know that you don't like
Hmm.
that job, that you have to find something else for yourself and everything, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you are like fired,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
you are in a relationship and the relationship is not good at all, and you don't have the courage to to leave, and then all of a sudden something happens, or the person breaks up with you, which was my case,
Yeah. She
thankfully.
said, see an obstacle as an opportunity to detour in the right direction. And I
Oh
love that
yeah, I
because I
love
love what you
that.
just said. A lot of times, like we're so set on our path and we think that success is a straight line up, and it's not.
Yes.
It's like zigzag, and sometimes it's down and it's up again, and then it's more zigzags. And that's
Yes.
how life is. It's a bunch of different detours. And it can just be relatable to travel too. Like I love when I used to travel without a map and without a phone because I would just
Mm.
go and explore the different roads, and then I would find this cute little cafe that was like completely detoured off of my path. And I would never have come across that cafe if I had not gone off the path. And I think that happens with our lives. Sometimes we're so afraid because we're so set on like this is supposed to be my career and this is what I'm
Yes.
supposed to be doing to be successful and happy,
Hmm.
and that we're afraid to take this detour. And like you said, sometimes life will do it for you.
Yes,
And
it's
I'm a
so
big
true.
believer in that. I think life
It's true.
gives you signs and messages, and it's up to us to listen to them. And if we don't, it's going to do it for us. And
Yes.
I remember that I was dating this guy, and everything in my life kept on telling me like you need to end it. It's not good for you. It's not good for you. And the night that we were having like this argument, I just felt like something like bad was gonna happen. That's the night I was in an accident and I hit my head against the window. And all I kept on thinking about is like, wow, here's the universe actually taking you and knocking you against the window to knock some sense into you. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And another thing is that if you don't listen, if you still don't listen, life will just throw things at you until you
Yes,
understand.
yes,
So, a different guy with the same qualities will come, or like
yes, yes.
something will happen until you actually say, like, you know what, I have to change something over here.
Mhm.
And yes, I agree with Gabby on this one. And I love the way she put it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
um, and
She also no, go ahead.
she talks a lot about energy, about
Yes.
having a positive energy and feeling joy. So
Mhm.
because energy goes, energy grows when you go, I don't know, whatever.
And
Everybody
energy
says,
energy goes where your thoughts, something like that. I
no,
know what you want to
yeah,
say.
whatever you think, that's the energy you're going to create. Okay,
Yes,
that's something
as you
like
think
that.
you shall be. That's
Exactly.
Wayne Dyer said that. And I love that she like mentioned him a lot in her book as
Yes,
well. I recently
it's
started
true.
reading his books and I love him. I love what
It's
he says.
amazing.
And he always says that like you need to feel the feeling that you want to of what you want to have happen. Once you
Yeah.
start feeling it, it's going to happen.
Hmm.
And she talked about that of how like she just imagined herself being the speaker talking about spirituality and writing all these books, and then it became her reality because she believed it. Her higher self
Yeah.
believed in it.
This is so crazy, but I do believe in manifestation. Come on. Like, I think I manifested a lot of things. And I am a spiritual person, but I also believe that, you know what, if we set ourselves to do something, and if we think about something every time, every hour, every minute of the day, with a positive mindset, our brain is going to figure out some way of doing the thing, right?
Mhm.
And this is something that people may find like, mm, may not believe as much, when you are
Yeah.
in a tough situation, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, think happy feelings. And people are
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, go F yourself. What are you talking about? Right? Because,
It's so true. But then again, those are the people, or they're in that stage where they don't want to give up their life of fear because that's what they're used to, that's what they know, and it's comfortable because they
yeah,
know how that feels.
yeah. But I mean, for those people, I would just say, like, instead of thinking about, $1 million life, just think about yourself out of this situation that you are right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to manifest like something big, but start with, small things and go from
Mhm.
there. Because of course you cannot create, it is difficult to create a feeling of abundance if you have no job, if you live on
Yeah.
the street, or, like, I mean, it's difficult. People do it. I think I had my most, like, powerful manifestation and visualization moments when I was in a bad situation, actually. This is
Yes.
weird. Now that I'm
Mhm.
comfortable, I'm like, sometimes I'm like second guessing and stuff. But
Yeah.
before, I don't know. It's tricky. So we are all different. But I
Mhm.
would say just start with small stuff. Like, can you see yourself getting a job, any job? And start there.
Mhm.
You don't need to start all of a sudden, visualizing yourself like a great
Mhm.
artist or a great speaker. Just visualize yourself out of this situation, out of the house that you are, or something like that. Because starting
Yeah.
small is also valid.
Yeah, I agree. She also says is what would you do if you knew that you were always guided? Like if you knew that you're
I,
always guided by something. And I love that
I,
because that's essentially what the universe has your back is all about. Is there's just
yeah,
something that is guiding us that wants the best for us. And sometimes we have to go through the lesson to learn something about it and to grow from it. So it could be a detour, an obstacle that's a detour in our life, but that
yeah.
we need in order to become the person that we're supposed to be. And I feel like if I knew that I'm always guided, I feel like I would be at peace because I knew that there's always something that's protecting me, that wants the
Hmm.
best for me, and that is always looking out for me. So no matter what I do, it's always going to be there to help me survive it.
Mm. Do you feel guided, or is this something that you
Do
struggle
I feel
with?
guided? I feel that sometimes there's this strong urge that you have inside of yourself that you need to listen to. And if you don't listen to it, like I said, life is gonna knock you up and down until you like hear the voice. And so yes,
Mm.
I do feel like there's this strong intuition that's inside of myself that the voice is telling me what to do and that we need to listen to it.
Yeah. When was the first time you felt guided? Do you remember?
Oh gosh. Huh.
Difficult
Actually,
question.
yes.
Okay.
Very simply, like my friend, I was in law school and I was working on my computer all day. And one of my friends from out of town had visited, and so all my friends were at the bar, and they all wanted me to stop by for a drink. And so
Hmm.
like I drove over there. I couldn't find a parking in front of the bar. Something was telling me like don't park, like just go home. I'm like no, but then I'm gonna upset them. They want to see me. She's here in town. I need to go say hi.
Hmm.
I won't stay long. I'll just have one drink. And so I parked the street away on a dark street with no other cars. It was just my car that was parked there. And then I walked to the bar. It wasn't very far. and something was telling me like, you really shouldn't have done that. Like you can still leave, like go back to your car and go home. And I'm like, no, like I don't want to disappoint them, because I was living back in those days where like I put so much of my value in other people's opinions and my friends'
Yeah.
opinions and my friends. I was living a life where my friends were my life, and so like I didn't want to disappoint them, and I didn't want to be that bad friend, because
Mm-hmm.
my value depended on their thoughts about me, right? Like I didn't love myself enough to be like, no, I'm going home. We'll see each other another time.
Yeah.
So I went in the bar, I had a drink, I said hi, we hung out, and then I was walking back to my car and just had this feeling like this is not going to end well. And as I was walking to my car, I saw that the window was busted in my car, and I was like, this is first. I like it was like one of those processes where like that's not happening. Like you're like this is not my reality, and I'm walking to my car, and I get to my car, and I realize that someone stole my purse with my laptop inside of it. And
Come
so there
on.
goes like my laptop that I needed to take my exams with, all the notes that I had on my laptops, my life, my work, my law school, like exams were coming up in a few weeks, all the work I had
Damn.
done, like, and I just started crying. And that was a moment where like I should have listened to my intuition, because my intuition was telling me that you should go home, you shouldn't park
Mm-hmm.
here, you shouldn't do this. But I suppressed the voice and I didn't listen,
How
and that's
many
what happened.
times? How many times we've done that? How many times?
Yes,
We're like, I think I shouldn't do this thing. I think I shouldn't go. I
yes,
think I should say no. And yeah, we should follow our intuition.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what? Actually, what ended up happening out of that story is that a woman came by my apartment and returned my planner, a couple of bills, and some of my notes. And she
Okay.
said that she found them. I believe it was probably one of her kids that stole my laptop. But because why would she go through all that trouble to return my notes to
Oh
my
my God.
apartment? Because I had my address written in my planner, so she returned my notes. But the good thing came out of it, like all my friends like jumped in and like we'll email you our outline, we'll like help you like if you haven't done something. And I ordered a new laptop, it came in. So like
Mhm.
it showed me that like my friends were willing to help me, and that goodness still existed in people. And unfortunately, I had to learn it the hard way, and I had to learn it the hard way that I needed to listen to my intuition.
Yeah, sometimes you'll learn this way. I had a very special um, revealing of being guided. It was very special. So
Hey
I
there,
was,
this is Erica from the editor's side. I just want to thank you for watching part one of this conversation inspired by this lovely book by Gabby Bernstein, The Universe Has Your Back. I hope that you enjoyed it, and stay tuned because next week we're going to share the last part two of the conversation, and that's it. Thank you. Remember, if you like this episode, just like it and share it with someone you love. Why not? And if you are not following us already, do it. We'd love to have you around. Bye.